Hello everyone, my name is Olajumoke Opajobi. I'm a graduate of Max-Migold Training Center. I graduated in the year 2020 and Max-Migold has been an excellent training for me. I went through this training and transitioning from an architect to a facility manager, and I totally enjoyed every bit of the training. It's so impactful. It went down to the list, to the bits of everything I need to know as a facility manager, and it has helped my career. Right now I've gotten a job from NI facility facility that I'm currently managing as a facility manager, and I so enjoyed the training, the team. I got to know about Max-Migold in year 2020 when they put up some flyers on an e-flyer. I saw an e-flyer that talked about facility management training, and it's something I've always shown interest. I've been looking out for what I can do differently as an architect to build myself and add value to myself. Then I got to know about Max-Migold. I followed through, and I had a 2 days free training session with Max-Migold, and from there I got so much interest in building my career as a facility manager, and they have helped me. I've gone through the full training, and I'm a graduate of Max-Migold. I appreciate that, and they have been wonderful. They have added so much value to my career, and it has been an excellent walkthrough with Max-Migold. Thank you.
My name is Peter Lawa, a facility manager with Triumph Properties and Facility Management. A graduate of FMMC Batch 12, of which prior to that I was a graduate of Physics with Electronics. It's funny when you hear physics and facility management. That shows what facility management can do to you. Coming into this, when I took the course, the 3 months Master Craft class, which was quite intense and very eye-opening. I came into the course with the intention of learning more pending when I will be getting fully employed, because prior to the program I was still in the job market trying to get somewhere to work. So fast forward to the class, I went through a lot, and this kind of broadened my perspective to the everyday activities and everyday objects I see around me. There are opportunities, there are all these things matter, right from the fabric of the material used in painting, decorating, even life of the dust on the table, cleaning.
Hello, my name is Amaka Anasi, and before the facility management diploma, Mastercraft diploma, I was working in the Labong School as a facility manager. I heard about the diploma and I attended the free training first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the diploma. So the free training convinced me that this was it. So I registered for the diploma. It has been worth my while, really, and very worth my while. So before the diploma, I had been working in facility management for about 5 years, and generally groping in the dark, making mistakes, learning from costly mistakes. Now with diploma, my facility management strategy has changed. It's no longer firefighting, but even though that still happens occasionally because life happens. But now I know, okay, so I have different maintenance strategies for different assets that I put in place and reach the bins before faults happen, which is the best way of practicing facility management. Then also, I know that some of my colleagues, some of my classmates in diploma have gotten promotions or pay rises, and you want to have that too. And also, through the training, I've been exposed. In fact, I'm still being exposed. I contribute and I learn. by being part of the alumni group, it's wonderful. There's a lot. I'm exposed to industry standards. You hear from other people who are wearing the same shoes as you're wearing, so you're not alone. It's big, that sense of community. And I want to thank Mr. Paul and the team of Max-Migold for the wonderful opportunity. And I encourage you to do the same to start the program.
My name is Rethinking Clements. I work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I joined the Max-Migold in January 2022, and which is the diploma program. I enjoyed the program, both the field, practical. There is a practical we hold at Ikoyi. I forgot the name of the address. The plumbing practical, it was also and it helped me a lot to improve on at my own site. I started working in Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 2007, and from resident at Ikoyi to our training school at Alwadagri from 2012, and from there, since then, they tried to introduce Max-Migold to me, in which my organization see that from there I can still gain more experience to improve my career. And since when I joined in the area of asset register, I improve on it. In the area of procurement, I make sure that all our materials and everything is being kept safely. And in the area of maintaining the generator annually also, it helped me a lot. We enjoy Mr. Paul, Mr. Emmanuel. I can't remember all our resource people. We really enjoy them, and I pray that God Almighty will continue to help them and will continue to promote the Max-Migold. Thank you.
Mastercraft program started. I attended a training before, a free training before the Mastercraft program, and I told myself that it would make a lot of sense to do the Mastercraft program. And just my first day at the class, I learned a lot. It was like I wasn't even practicing facilities management all this while. I went home and I went home very fulfilled, and I told myself I have no regrets starting this program. Before then, I didn't have I wasn't called for this interview. I started dropping my CV in some comments. Then I got this interview, and when I got there, the way I related with people interviewing me, they really knew that I had serious idea of what facilities management is all about. And before now, trust me, if I did that interview before the class had started, I don't think I would have gotten the job, because a lot of things I had learned from this place, contract management, facilities management in total, what it's all about and what it entails, brought me out and made me stand out in the interview process. I was able to tell them much about contract management. I was able to tell them much about KPIs and how to supervise and all of that, and how to manage a building, and how to manage facilities in the building, and what to look out for. And they were very, 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 very impressed with my section. And I know, I'm 100% sure it was due to the few lectures, because I've not even gone too far in the Mastercraft program when I went for this interview. But the few things
I've learned in the class got me all the ideas, and I was able to put forward and I was able to get the job.
I'm Matthew Ojonugwa Friday. Actually, I'm very grateful to be part of this free training. I'm working with Asego Nigeria Limited as a maintenance and servicing engineer. Also, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. I've been looking into opportunity to build up a career in facility management. And thank God I came across the Max-Migold online on WhatsApp, and I came to the opportunity and I came for the training. Actually, the first time of being here, and I can attest to the fact that the training was absolutely wonderful. I learned something new, very new that I've not learned before. And Mr. Paul is a very wonderful lecturer and also a mentor to say, because what I have downloaded into for this training is what enough to be a mentor to align with. And I believe as time goes on, I promise to get close and learn more from him, because I believe he has much to deliver. And also I want to comment on his efforts so far to make sure the training was wonderful in terms of free lunch and every other facilities and things which have made available for everybody.
My name is Ubote Okoyego. I heard about Max-Migold from a friend referred me, and actually I just concluded my MSc. I've not actually had another experience different from academics, but coming here today actually has there are lots of opportunities outside academics in terms of the management aspects, the HSC, and more of it. And for the speaker, it was very fantastic. He got everybody wow, really made good points, and he changed the idea and thought into very effective. And referring people, I think he has actually brought out the positivity for you to want to tell people about what you have learned, which I believe you want to motivate people to come and do better.
My name is Anayo Victor Waboa. I work with Plus World Realtors. Max-Migold has done a great job by lecturing us on facility management training, fundamentals, and specific core competencies in facility management. I really love it because it helped me improve myself better. Despite what I've known, there are still new developments, still new process to the way you carry out facility management procedures in your workplace. I was opportune to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of answers to my questions and these questions and these answers will rather help me perform better at my work. Yes, for Erubami, I've known him for a while now, and he has been so good, he has been so nice. In fact, he called me up this morning, we talked about one or few things concerning facility management and my growth, and I really appreciate him for such an opportunity. Despite not paying any dime for this, yes, we received so much value. Yes, it's morning, and we are still receiving, and we don't want to go home. I think this training is profitable for everyone who is ready to grow a career in facility management. Thank you very much.
The very first day in class was, my God, wow, you know, the knowledge, everything in class was just wow. That's what I can say. And today, you know, I've been to different interviews, I've done very well, I've represented very well, and I've worked in one or two organizations. Currently, where I worked, you know, I just joined them this December, and they just made me the head of facilities. Number one was that when I came, there wasn't system at all. Nothing like PPM. They always break down of, you know, service and all of that. So first thing I came, I took the stock, I do a PPM, I create an asset register. They were like, what's going on? So I created the system, all to the knowledge I gained through this institution.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hajia Zainab Sadi, and I'm the Managing Director of Brains and Hammers Facility Management Limited and White Oak Management Services Limited. Both are facilities management companies. Not too long ago, I decided to enroll my staff in a masterclass program organized by Max-Migold Limited. For some of us that are not aware, Max-Migold Limited is a physical facilities management, training, inspection, technology advisory firm. Now, I've known them for quite some time, and I chose, not too long ago, to put my staff through a training program under Max-Migold. And I can assure you that it was worth it. Why do I say that? What value has it brought to me? Or what value has it brought to my staff and to the organization generally? I can assure you there was a change. Why do I say that? Their mindset has begun to change. The way they look at attending to activities and tasks that have been given to them have changed. I even hear it in their conversations. And when you hear my staff discussing about tasks or projects that have been given to them to execute, you hear them saying, oh no, I remember in class they told me not to do this. Let's do it this way, and let's see how it's going to affect the work at the end of the day. The long and short of all what I'm trying to say to you is that if you have an opportunity to send your staff or yourself to Max-Migold, please do it, because it is worth it. And I can assure you that you will see positive changes in your staff, and which will eventually impact in your organization. Do go ahead, work with Max-Migold. You will definitely get what it is you're looking for. Have a lovely day.
We have a lot of courses actually, but I have two that are more interesting to me, like procurement management and facility maintenance strategies. Procurement management, it exposes us to so many things about procurement. The difference between procurement and purchase. All that you need to do to abide by the ethics of procurement standard, everything that you need to succeed as an FM, in procurement. And at the same time, maintenance, facility strategic maintenance is one of the main things as an FM that really, puts you at that top, that will really make people appreciate and respect you. The essence of facility, maintenance strategy, the whole essence and objective is to save costs. Is to ensure that the operations of that organization keep running. That's the whole essence of facility operation maintenance. And in those, we have a lot of processes, the strategies to apply. Like for example, we have talked about the reactive / run to fail maintenance plan. Talk about the preventive maintenance plan and the predictive maintenance plan. So as an FM, I think for it to be top notch, for it to be at the top of your peak, and to be respected in your discipline, you need to understand the three modules that I just mentioned earlier. The reactive, some of what's equivalent or whatever that you are allowed to be reactive, and the kind of preventive measure you deploy in the process and everything. So for me, it has been a resourceful and expository times in Max-Migold.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ayiba Subu, and facilities manager with Landmark. And before now, I used to be facility manager with my church university headquarters. I used to be facility manager there. Traditionally, before I saw the need to upgrade myself to world-class facility manager. Then I did my research and I got Max-Migold as a preferred trainer for that purpose, which I attended training for 9 months. The 9 months, 3 months was in class, and 6 months was on the phone to do our project. And he saw me through to Lagos Business School, which I did my 6 months project there. Gathered a lot of experiences. I saw the value increase in me. So it saw me through to other places like real estate companies, and I worked there for a while before I came to Africa, which practically I felt it that my value increased because of the training experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ella, can we get started, or would you do the introductions?
You can get started, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this knowledge sharing session. I will go and present my screen. I was here a couple of weeks ago where we talked about the difference between customer service and customer care. And we found out that a lot more of what we are doing, or what we are doing in facilities management, is more of customer service. And, I think it was a good one. If you missed that class, we have the recording. You can just request for the recording, right? And just watch that. Today, we'll be looking at a very interesting topic. Let me share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Okay, if you can see my screen, please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen. We can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So today, without further ado, we'll just go into what we have. It's a very interesting topic, and I think is one topic that every facility manager should have a mindset towards it and work towards how we can rethink FM. I want to see FM first of all as we are supposed to be driving a vehicle. Imagine you driving a vehicle and suddenly the passengers are the ones controlling the vehicle. So they put their hands in front of the steering and they are moving left where you want to turn right. Somebody moves his or her leg across and is helping you accelerate when you want to slow down. Many times that's what's happening currently in FM, right? We are the ones that are supposed to be in charge, driving the vehicle that has to do with facilities management. But because we are not taking charge of what we should do, you have a lot of passengers, right, including stakeholders, all stakeholders, getting involved in what we should be doing to drive the vehicle. And of course, you know what happens. That's what's responsible for many of the disasters that we have in facilities management. You really can't think, you can't be strategic, because a lot of people are pulling us from left, right, and center. So this course pretty much is to help you see things differently, right? Let's see things differently so we can apply a different approach towards facilities management. So like you can see, the title is Rethinking FM Services. This part one. There's going to be a part two. And what we are looking at is how we can move from our operational support to strategically enabling the facilities we manage. Okay, our course objectives. Our course objectives at the end of the class, or at the end of this knowledge sharing session, our goal is to help you understand the shifting roles of facilities management in modern organizations. You'll be able to identify some of the outdated FM practices and why they are obsolete, why they no longer meet the needs that we have today. Also, you'll be able to explore, begin to reimagine the possible, explore innovative and value-driven FM services models beyond the traditional maintenance that we are used to. Also, we hope that you're able to recognize how technology, data, and user experience are reshaping, how we deliver FM. And finally, we have some foundational strategies for transforming, facility management functions into proactive and strategic services. So we have the course outline. We'll just go through everything. First is we'll FM is, which is what many of us are currently practicing. We would also look at what do we want to get to, the strategic shift from the traditional to what we should be doing. We'll ask ourselves a big question, then we'll see FM service as a business. Sometimes we just think facility management service is a function, but it's beyond a function, it's actually a business. We'll look at what makes up stakeholders experience, look at service management, what service management entails. We'll take a deep dive into understanding our stakeholders, right? We'll do an assessment of our stakeholders' needs and why we must rethink FM. So we have all that to cover in about 45 minutes. Then we take the remaining 15 minutes to asking questions or taking contributions towards the class. So let's move on. Before I move on, if you are paying attention, can you please give me a thumbs up? Just want to do a rain check if the people in class are being attentive. Thumbs up, please. Can we get thumbs up? Thank you very much, Ime. Thank you. More thumbs up, please. Let's see who and who and who. If you're following, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. So the traditional view of FM, which, like I said, many of us still practice, in itself is not bad, right? So when we call it traditional, doesn't mean that it's bad. But facilities management is evolving very, very fast. And if you stick with the traditional way of doing things, you would wake up one morning and find out that, you are no longer a fit into many organizations because a lot of things have moved from what we used to know it to be to what it is currently. So one of them is we have reactive maintenance model. What is a reactive maintenance? When something goes bad, they reach out to us and we go there, have it fixed. Maybe excellent service, but when we take this approach, it's still part of the traditional approach towards FM. Now, the other aspect or the other perspective that makes up the traditional FM, which many of us are also still doing, is until the users of the facilities or the stakeholders complain, we are pretty much chilling, right? We are chilling, just watching movies, just, taking air conditioner, just chilling until there's an issue. That is when they see us. When there's no issue, they don't see us, okay? I'm not calling names, all right? You know yourself if you are in this boat. So that's still a traditional approach. And cost control focus. This is one of the areas where I said that you are supposed to be the driver, but it appears that some of the passengers are trying to control the steering with us. Yeah. Cost control. What we need to cut down costs. We need to cut down costs. They are the ones, setting targets, setting deadlines for us that see, we need to cut down costs. What are the cost control initiatives? What are these things that you can do? And they are actually controlling the vehicle that we are supposed to be driving. And finally, which is also similar to the complaints-driven responses, we would not respond until there's a complaint. Our visibility is only when something has failed. If things are working very well, they pretty much do not see us. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but it's if this is what you are currently doing, it means you are still stuck in the old ways of doing things. So the next slide is we're looking at what should we be doing, okay? What should we be doing? So what we should be doing differently, is what we tag here as a strategic shift, right? There is the operational aspect or tactical aspect, then there's the strategic aspect of FM. So we are moving away from a periodic, maintenance that we know, right, into service management. We'll take a deep dive into that, okay? We are moving away from FM being a cost center into FM being a value partner. This speaks to how do they see you in your organization? How do they see you in your organization? This FM people self, you are always one of the major costs, you are in the major budget. But if we are adding the right value, you find out that people would not see us as a cost center unit, but actually a valued partner. Take, for instance, for those of you who may be residing here in Lagos, the band A, we know that that's like the top tier of the electricity tariff. I heard that in certain estates where they actually provide them with the actual number of hours needed for power, that you have a lot of people, they are the ones putting off a lot of things. They'll put off the lights, they'll put off the fan, except it's absolutely necessary. That is where they put on, because there's power almost more than 20 hours in a day, right? You have power for more than 20 hours in a day. And the way we used to use power then, they cannot continue because it's very expensive. Yeah. But are people upset that it's very expensive? Of course not. Maybe not in the sense of it if they are given the power. From what I've seen is a lot of people are very unhappy when they are charging them so much and they are not giving the number of hours that they should be given. But in the instance where they are providing with the number of hours and the power is of good voltage, or what we call is not low current, you find out that a lot of people are a bit relaxed, right? The damage if you are on main power supply on some of your equipment is usually very low, because it's very good power as much as possible. Going forward is we are going to move from the reactive way of doing things to be able to predict, not just being proactive. Now, we want to shift from, many people are still struggling to shift from being reactive to being proactive, right? But we want to move from being reactive to being predictive. So being proactive is before the issue, before there's a breakdown, before there's an incident, before something breaks out, we are able to step in to correct the issue. But being predictive is you're way ahead of being proactive. What being predictive is, based on the data you have collected over time, you should be able to say that by this time, this thing would go down, and by this time, we need to budget for this and this and this, and exactly how you have predicted because you have been watching it. Like one of my bosses used to say, he said, if you can't count it, then it doesn't count. Please allow that sink in. Anything you cannot count, it means it doesn't count. If I ask you, how old are you? Without thinking much, you already know how old you are. You can tell how old you are because it counts, it matters to you. You use it every now and then. But if I ask you, how old is your, let's say, the fan in your living room, or how old is the light bulb or something that you don't really pay attention to, you'll not be able to tell me because it doesn't really count. So if you're not counting, if you're not taking data in the way you are doing work, it means that your work doesn't really count. Sorry to say, but it doesn't really count. So instead of moving from being reactive to being proactive, we are moving from being reactive to being predictive. And finally, on the strategic shift is we are moving from being technical focus for us to be able to align properly with the business that we are serving. technical focus, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you are this facility manager, you are not technical. Oh, we want an engineering, we want an engineer with this, or want a civil engineer for, or want an electrical person. That just speaks about, this person is technical in this bit. But a true facility manager should move away from the mindset of just being technical, right? Beyond, technical skills. But are you being able to align with the business? You can be the most technical person or technical FM where you work. But if you're not aligning with the business, then you are still in the old way of doing things. What does it mean to align with the business? Do you understand the business? If you are supporting an accounting firm, do you know the principles of accounting? Do you know what's the kind of business that you are being supporting? Do you know how the money is being made? Do you know what is, what are the, really important thing in that particular business? If everything that you know just stops with the technicality of it, then it means that you are still doing things the old way, which is why we're having this course at the first place, to help you shift your mind from the traditional way of doing things to a more strategic way of doing things. So the big question is, I'm asking you today is, when it comes to facilities management, are we actually managing facilities or we are managing experiences? Are we managing facilities or we are managing experiences? If you are managing facilities, it speaks to, we are doing the water dispenser, you are servicing the generator, you are doing all that. That is the traditional way of thinking. That's the traditional way of doing things. The focus is more on the facilities that we are managing. But the whole essence of this knowledge sharing session is we are not just managing facilities. Managing facilities is just a small part of what we are doing. We are managing the people's experiences. Users of your facility, we are managing their experiences. When they go to work, how well do they feel at work, right? How productive are they if they are in your facilities? These are some of the questions we'll be looking at in the next couple of slides that we have. So let us look at FM as a business or a service business, which is some of which I've touched about, right? That we are not managing facilities in itself, right? We are managing the people's experiences. And in managing people's experiences, we are looking at facility management as a service business. The first item I have here is workspace readiness. Workspace readiness is, as the name implies, is how ready is the space that the users of the facility, how ready is it for them to carry out work for that particular day, or for the month, or for the quarter, or for the year at large? How ready is that space? And when you think about workspace readiness, you are not just limiting yourself to a small aspect of the work. So workspace is beyond cleaning the space, right? Workspace, it's more encompassing, which is why I'm saying that this is where our minds should be looking at. So in a workspace, some of the things that you would consider, okay, I think now is a good place to get some feedback. If we are talking about workspace, what are the things in a workspace that you think it's crucial to having the space ready for work, probably in your organization or where some of the places that you provided? You can unmute your mic and mention, or I can start. Okay, I've talked about janitorial, like cleaning the place. So one of the things that workspace readiness entails is cleaning the space. Can we get some others if you are following? Yes, Innocent.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
I think for me, I had to come from engineering perspective anyway.
Okay, please go on.
Especially in the area of fabrication.
Okay, so workspace readiness. So tell us what's one of the things in the area of fabrication that would make the workspace ready.
Like in order to make my workspace ready, I think number one, there should be proper housekeeping first.
Okay.
That's number one.
Yes,
and
I've talked about that already. Yeah.
You just made mention of managing experiences, ensuring that my workers are in the right frame of mind. I think that is very important.
Okay, so how?
How? First of all, I need to engage them. I need to engage them to know their states. You know, some of them might have family issues. Some of them might have work-related issues. So there will be a kind of toolbox meeting where this will be addressed.
Okay, so if they have family issues, are you able to address it in that space? If it's money matter?
At least they've been able to like air out their feelings. At least they will have a little bit of relief to be able to be productive for the day.
Okay, I understand. So more like a problem shared is a problem half solved.
Half solved, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you
then
very
I'll
much.
start looking at the.
Yeah, we want to take some other responses if that's fine.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you very much. So do we have any other person, workspace readiness in the facility where you work? We've talked about cleaning or housekeeping. We've also talked about, the mental well-being of the workers or the people that are to do the work. Can someone mention maybe one or two? Yes, Ime, you are raising your hands up. Please take a jab. Just mention one.
Okay, I'll also involve the furniture, not just getting the furniture, getting the right furniture, how they are positioned in the space I'm going to work in.
Yeah, thank you very much. So many of us, right? I'm sure we've heard some of the workstations or the chairs that we have is doing us more harm than good. You get to the workspace, and by the time you finish work for the day, you always have back pain. Whose responsibility do you think that is? Do you think it's the HR? Do you think it's the management? It's actually the work of the facility manager. When people are complaining about the chairs that they sit on, then it speaks about the poor ergonomics for the chair. The facility manager, if he's been, not just proactive, if you are being predictive, you say, if more people begin to have back pains, it's going to impact the work in this way or in that way. And you find out that it's one of the major things that can impact, workspace readiness. Thank you very much, Ime. Do you have your hands raised or somebody else wants to speak? There are so many aspects about workspace readiness. Can we get two more from two different people? Workspace readiness. Okay, yes, Moses, please go on.
We'll also be looking at the cooling system and the lightning in the workspace environment.
Fantastic. So cooling, right? When it comes to cooling, we know that people's body regulations are different. People regulate temperature at, from one body to another. It varies how we are able to self-regulate temperature. There are certain people that like it very cold. Some people don't like it cold at all. But beyond not liking it cold, we need cool air to be able to take out the used air from that space, right, and introduce fresh air. So you can't say that because you don't like it cold, you want to jeopardize lack of or shortage of oxygen in a space because it's very cold. How is the facility manager supposed to respond to that? We are supposed to respond in a way by finding what's the most appropriate temperature is, that is beyond it is not too cold, beneath it is not too hot. And you can, some of the things that, I've done in time past, where I used to work, is we send a communication that, oh, this is the temperature we'll be leaving the central cooling system. If you find it very cold, please come with a jacket, right? So people are advised to bring a jacket and maybe just hang it behind their seat. So if you are at any point in time on a shelf, if you are feeling very cold, you can always, put on the jacket. But that would help to maintain, a good ambient temperature that would be conducive for everybody to work, especially when, the place is, you are not receiving natural air from it. So that's for cooling. On lighting, it's interesting how there are certain types of facilities that lighting, they don't really pay a lot of attention to lighting. If you have a glare on your screen where you're working, then it means that the light is not well positioned. I know that many businesses, especially when they don't build the place, like they're renting certain buildings, they just use the light as it is. Many of us are working in very, very bad space. We are even having people work in very bad environment, because now take, for instance, your laptop has light, hitting your eyes. Then you now have, let's say, a light that is not well positioned also hitting your system, and it's also hitting your eyes. Some of the effects of lack of workspace readiness, it doesn't happen immediately. Long term, over a long period of time, you find out that you have a lot of people having eye problems. You have a lot of people having prolonged chronic back pains, because they are working in spaces that are not ergonomically suitable for work. So I would stop there for the workspace readiness, and it means that we have a good idea. So instead of saying, oh, we should clean the space and all that, the shift is we should think about the space, right? Walk into that space when you are the only one. Look at every services, both the lights, the cooling, the ergonomics of the table, the chairs, right? Check the floor, check many things around that space. Once you check, when you put all these things together, you are able to see differently. You're able to understand that, oh, these are some of the little things we can tweak to boost productivity, right? That's for workspace readiness. The other thing we have here is power reliability. And as the name suggests, we need reliable power. We need reliable power. There are certain kind of businesses and certain type of equipment that should not even go down for 2 seconds. There are certain, like for those of you who work in offices that have big server room, you know that the server room is one room that there has to always be power. By power is ACs has to be working, and there has to be lights in that space. Always, weekday, weekend, 247, every day of the year without fail. Right? There are certain organizations beyond their server room, the whole workspace is like a server room. Take, for instance, a call center where they run 24-hour services. They are providing services to people in their indigenous country, and they are also providing services to people outside of their country. Take, for instance, I don't know if there's anyone in Nigeria, but I know of a customer, like a customer service space organization, very massive in India, where they provide services, customer care services to people both within the country and outside of the country, different businesses. So they have a large hall where you have different people running different shifts on a daily basis. They come there and they know the clients that they are working for. So your next door neighbor or the person sitting next to you may be working for, let's say, IBM. You may be working for Shell. Another person may be working for maybe another telecoms industry, Glow. Another person just by the side, and everyone, right, is providing services, 24-hour services. Imagine that kind of environment. Your power reliability has to be 100. So a proactive facility manager should be able to, over time, you know that, oh, these are some of the issues that we are experiencing. If the power outage in a particular place is pretty much stable, then it means that your backup system should not be, in some cases, people can do well with just one backup system, maybe like a UPS that can just transition between, shutting down, hold for maybe about 10, 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour before main power is restored. In certain countries, if there's power outage, they'll tell you, oh, they want to carry out a maintenance, it's going to take about 30 minutes. And within 30 minutes, right, if there's power outage during that time, you should have a backup system that can hold space within that 30 minutes. So there'll be uninterrupted power supply. So one of the things that we should be looking as a business, if there's somebody waiting at the room. Ella, please just keep looking. There are certain people that are waiting at the room. So if anybody's joining, please, you can just admit them in the class. Thank you. So power reliability is one aspect of it. The facility manager should be able to think about how power impacts the work there. If you need to get UPS, you can go ahead. Some people rely on the generator. Some people, generator cost is much. There's a facility where I work. They have both main power, they have generator, and they have IPP. IPP is gas, a gas plant supplying them power. So they have 3 levels of backup as much as possible. And even at that, sometimes you have when there's power outage, less than 1 minute. Less than 1 minute in certain cases, you already have power restored. And there are certain spaces where they have UPS that the computers, right, would always have power, right? Where you plug your computers will always have power. The IT room, the data or the server room has power and AC, all the time, right? And you have your redundant, equipment there. Okay, so we've talked about power reliability, environmental comfort, right? Environmental comfort is the sum of all, you're putting a lot of things together, right? You're putting a lot of things together, both within the space that you work and the comfort of the external space, right? And when you're looking at the external space, it's not just what impacts you. You are thinking and caring for the environment as well. So the environmental comfort is one of the ways that we can see facility management as a service business. Are we caring for the environment, right? Are we caring for the environment? We have some other slides where we'll talk more about sustainable practices, right? Sustainable practices. I know that our ozone layer has been greatly depleted by the activities we have here in Nigeria. And for some of us who have traveled out of the country, when there is sun, you go outside and you ask, now sun be this, is this sun? Like, this is not like sun, because sun is coming out, but you are still very, very cold. It means that they've done a lot of work to protect their ozone layer. But here in Nigeria, oh my God, some sun will hit you and all that, and you will not even have total control of yourself. I served in Maiduguri, and one of the things that they gave us back then when I went for service is they gave us this meningitis injection because people have heat stroke. It was in that space I knew that there was something called heat stroke. And these things are real. For the fact that you may be staying in places where these things are not real, there's a stroke, human being, like there's heat stroke, and it gets so hot. And some of all these things, have direct impacts to how we take care of our environment. Next, we have as FM as a service business that we should be looking at is safety assurance. I'm not just talking about HSC. I'm saying that are the people or where you work, are they assured of safety? And safety is beyond physical safety. There's physical safety, there's psychological safety, there's emotional safety. There are different types of safety. You can have a space that is certified to be very compliant with HSE standard and all the ISO safety standard, but the people there that are working, they don't feel safe, right? There's bullying happening, people are under subtle threats from time, there's retaliation, people can't speak freely, right? And you're asking, is it the job of the facility manager? Safety of the users of your facility should be paramount. And if the HR is not doing their job, you should step up to say, the users of my facility need to be psychological safe beyond physical safety, right? And any act that will threaten the safety of the users of your facility should become a major concern for you, right? Right? It should become a major concern for you. See why we are saying that we have to rethink FM. We have to rethink the way we are doing FM, right? When we are able to rethink it, it positions us in a spot where people would actually see us as value partners and as against, right? You are just, just a cost center, okay? And finally, what we have as FM as a business is user support services. We talked about a lot of this in the last class that I took, customer care versus customer service. And just a little recap on that is why customer, service is aimed at fixing the problem that has been raised. Customer care is the whole experience, right? The whole experience. You have to understand your clients. You have to understand their business, right? Even after you have fixed the problem, you need to do follow-up to check, are they well, right? Have the issues been adequately, resolved? Is going over and beyond, right? In a nutshell, it's going over and beyond in terms of the support services that you're offering to the users of your facilities. So FM service business is pretty much sustained by the services you and I manage. Moving forward. Okay, so what is service management? Quickly, service management, right? Like we have the definition here, is a structured design. So there's structured design, not just any design. The design has to be structured, delivery and improvement of services that support organizational objectives, right? So first things first is you need to know what the organization's objective is. For facilities where you have more than one type of business, you need to understand the different organizational objectives of the different tenants in your facility that you're managing. Then you know the kind of support, how you structure the design for the kind of business that you are managing, the service that you are managing, how to deliver that business. Like I said, there are certain businesses that they can't afford to do any form of, any form of work during daytime. And if you need to do anything, it has to be during the night. So daytime, the moment they've retired for the day, you bring your workmen or your technicians, they come, they do everything, they clean, and by the following morning, everything is back and better. So you need to understand that some people may like, oh, it doesn't really matter. We are not having external clients, so you can come and fix the AC. You can come in, do the work, and some people don't mind. For certain businesses, you cannot because of the nature of the business. So you find out that there's a dynamic in the support services that you are giving when you understand the organizational objectives of the users of your facilities. Another thing I want to mention is one of the key competency of a facility manager is innovation. What is innovation in very simple terms? Many people would brag over delivery or invention, or they are pioneers in this field. Take, for instance, the traditional banks, right? The traditional commercial banks in Nigeria, a lot of them have really failed to evolve. And you have the likes of the new generational bank that may not even have a lot of physical office space. But guess what? They are doing a lot. I heard someone was telling me about a bank. I don't know if it's Kuda or Kuda or Money Point or the both of them. I said for every spend, every transaction you make, it's able to save 10% of that spend into a separate like sub account for you. So take for instance, if you have 1 million in your account and you make a transaction of 100,000 naira, it saves 10,000 naira in a separate account within the same big account. And I asked her like, wow, your bank does that? She said, yes, that it does that. Any money that goes out. And I'm saying that these people are trumping the traditional banks that you and I know. Trumping them. Some banks, if you have issues with withdrawing, or let's say you were wrongly debited and they didn't give value, you would chase them for almost 1 week and they'll still not even attend to your business. For some other new generation banks, you don't even need to send them any message. Immediately, you are able to, either it's automated to do itself, or you can just go to the app and do certain things and you get your refunds back. That is, sorry, excuse me. Sorry. That's like a vivid example of how the traditional way of doing FM business, and the strategic shift we are looking that FM, business should be done and should be run. Innovation, you have to be innovative. So service management, you're not just looking at the design, structure design, the delivery, and improvement of services. That's where innovation comes from. You check the services, even though you've been rated well, you should have a team, or your whole team should be able to sit and ask yourself, what can we do differently? How can we improve what we are doing? For the fact that they are not complaining now doesn't mean that you cannot sit down and see how you can improve how you are doing things. Have people research, have your team research that, okay, this thing that you are doing, yes, you scored an A, right? They are happy with the work that we do. The question is, what can we do differently, right? So before your service even drop, you should have the mindset of thinking about innovation. How do we improve the services, even though the service is going well? Traditional way of thinking is when they start complaining, then we should think about improvements. The strategic shift we are looking is even when things are going well, you should also be thinking of how better you can get in providing service support. So what does service management entails? One, you need to understand the stakeholders' expectation, right? You need to be able to design the service scope for each individual business services. Remember, I said, whatever you do, you don't treat it as, oh, I'm providing, we are doing HVAC, we are doing janitorial, right? The strategic shift is, this is HVAC business. This is janitorial or housekeeping business. This is generator maintenance business. This is lift business. So when you have a business mindset in your approach, guess what? You are able to design the service scope that would be at par with what we are trying to get you to do. Allocating resources, delivering consistency, and measuring value. Okay, measuring value. I mentioned the other time that anything that you cannot count doesn't count. You should be able to measure value, right? I'm not saying measure the output of work that you do. Measure the value that you provide. And measuring value, because it's very subjective. Facilities management is both art and science. I'm sure I don't know if many of you know that it's both art and science. So there's a scientific approach to facilities management, and there's an art or social science, right? There's a social science to facilities management. For you to be able to measure value, real value, right? You need to combine both the scientific aspect and the social aspect to be able to measure value. So depending on the facilities you are in, you should be able to think about strategic ways that you can measure value and to find out that the value add I'm making to the different stakeholders, is it increasing, is it decreasing, or is just stagnant? Now, one of the things that many of us have downplayed over time is when we hear the word stakeholders, we think is a general blanket. Even for those people who know that stakeholder is not a general blanket, you just think that, well, stakeholders are stakeholders. The truth about it is not all stakeholders are equal. No this and no peace. And because they are not equal, their demands are also different. I'm calling your attention to this today. So you begin to see, even though they may be your colleague, even though they may be your guys, you may have a friend that has a property that you're providing facility management services, your guy, probably you guys were, roommates in the university. The truth about it is that person, the kind of services you provide to that particular stakeholder, the owner of the facility, is going to be different from the other stakeholders. So now I have I have 6 stakeholders, right? I have 6 stakeholders that I'm bringing, we're bringing to your attention today. One, the building owner is a stakeholder of your facility. We have the finance team or the financier of the person bringing the money or the team responsible for bringing the money. The way you deal with them is different. The operations team, cost operations, people who carry out the work, they are also a stakeholder in your facility. You deal with them differently. The occupants, they are a stakeholder in your facility. They are different. Regulatory bodies, even if your father is the head of the regulatory body, does not give you a right to do things and just expect your father, like, am I not his son? Am I not his daughter? Does he not know that I'm working in this place? If you break the law, you get penalized for it. It's as simple as that. And finally, you have the vendors. Even though you are the one engaging the vendors to come and do work for you, they are also a stakeholder in your facility. How you treat these different sets of people would determine the kind of success you have when managing your facilities, right? Let me try to wrap up so we can take questions. Okay. Stakeholder needs assessment. Some of the things you should ask yourself from the different people that we've mentioned is, when they reach out to you, the first thing you do is, what are we trying to solve here? What problem are we solving for the different stakeholder? You need to understand how they want to be served, right? What does success look like to each stakeholder? What success is for the building owner or the project owner or the owner of the facility is different from what the vendor would consider to be success. It's different from what the operations team would consider to be success. It's different from what the finance team would consider to be success. So one, you need to know the problem you want to solve. Secondly, you need to also know what does success look like to each stakeholder ahead of them calling you to come and resolve a problem. This is not, they are calling you to come and resolve a problem, then you are trying to resolve the problem. No, that's the traditional way of thinking. We have left that, right? What we are looking at right now is, you need to profile the different stakeholders, identify the different stakeholders in your facility, know from each single one of them or their representative. If you want to do a survey, you want to have a word for word, and you have to have all this documented. What does success look like to each stakeholder? When you have that, you can now work from a more strategic point of view. Success, let's assume, to the owner of the facility is, I don't want my property to diminish in value. Anything you have to do it, but don't allow my property to diminish in value. I want the value of this property to continue to increase with each passing year. That's what success looks like to the owner of the building. What success look like to finances? See, don't come and put me under undue pressure. Help me to know whatever your budget is ahead of time and give me ample notice so we can plan our cash flow to be able to meet up with this, right? When you meet every single stakeholder and discuss with them, you know what success looks like to them. Then the next thing you are supposed to do is what level of services is required versus what is desired. There are two things here. Some people desire something different from what is required. You need to understand what the difference is, right? Many times they will say, oh, just do it like this, just do it like this. We're able to pass through. As a facility manager, you know that this is below minimum level, right? You are telling me, oh, this is what, if I just have things, let things just be going, let me just get a place to sit. It's beyond just getting a place to sit. Where the person is sitting, what effect does it have on the person sitting there for long hours? So there's a different level of service, right? You need to understand what is required and what is desired. When you are able to map out the kind of services you provide at different level, you know what the minimum level is, you know what the maximum level is, you know what is in between. So anytime they are calling you to carry out a particular work, you already have your manual, you already have your book to say, with what this person is asking, this is what we can do. So even if you are making requests for funds and you have, let's say, 3 tiers of ways to resolve a particular thing, you know which is best that you can apply depending on the availability of, resources that is on ground. And to wrap this up, I said here that your expectation gap is equal to the complaint source. Complaint source refers to your stakeholders, right? The source of their complaint is what your expectation gap is equal to the expectation gap is. So they've told you what their expectation is. I told you, you need to know what success looks like to each stakeholder. When they are complaining about a particular thing, it means that for that particular thing that they are complaining is the expectation, that there's a gap in the expectation that they have for you concerning the services that you are providing. Moving forward, why? Okay, we're about wrapping up. So why we must rethink FM? Number one, we have rising client expectations. The expectations they have yesterday is different from the expectations they have today, right? So this whole essence, what we are doing here for this part one, there's a part two, part of this course. But why we must rethink FM is we have rising client expectations. And with rising clients' expectations, when the expectations are not fixed, it means we also have to be innovative. We also have to be progressive in how we manage the services that we provide. There's regulatory complexity. We hear about tax laws and things and all that. Some of these tax laws, they have some of the tax laws that they've brought out. I'm sure many people have not really paid attention to how much impact it has on the budget. So the budget you had for last year, if you say, oh, I want to do a 10% markup into the budget for this year, you may be wrong, because with the regulatory compliance and complexity of the regulations that are coming into any country, they have an impact into how FM business is being run. So don't say that, oh, the tax laws does not concern me, whereas, and by that, you have not really taken time to see how it impacts individual, right? When you know how it impacts individual, you know how to manage your team better. You know how to do certain things to be able to be in alignment, because if you mess the government up, they will mess you up. And not just you, they'll mess your business up. There's also technology integration. Many people are still, let's assume, okay, for this one that is very common, they still go, oh, NEPA don't bring lights, they go manually change, off the generator, and go to the changeover, and they carry the switch up. And when there's power outage, you find somebody running, going to start the gen, and they start the gen, and you should think about technology integration, right? There are automation that have been done that the moment there's power outage, in less than 1 minute and all that, the generator has picked up. And if you synchronize your generator, right? There's a facility they have like 4 generators, 4 500 kVA generators, depending on the load demand, right? That is, if there's no power and we are running on gen, depending on the load demand, you find out that maybe at a particular time, only one generator can be working. The next thing, the second generator will pick up. The next thing, the third generator will pick up, right? The third generator will pick up. Oh, sorry. The third generator will pick up and the fourth generator will pick up, right? So there are technology integration. If you are not using a space, you can automate your light sensor switches, right? Even in hotels, people have moved away from key cards. Oh, I'm coming inside my place, and they put a key card and everything comes on. There are motion, there are motion sensors. That is one. The downfall of the setback with motion sensor is if somebody is in a space sitting very still, the motion sensor will pick that nobody is moving. And as a result, guess what? There'll be power outage. It's going to cut. But people have moved from just having motion sensor to heat sensor. It can sense if there's a human being in a space. So whether the person is sleeping, whether the person is awake, whether the person is moving, whether the person is not moving, it can sense that there's a human being in the space and continue to power. The moment the person walk out of that space and it doesn't sense any human body in that particular space, guess what? The breaker, it trips off. So technology is evolving. If you are still in, oh, we switch off the lights, back. When somebody checks out of your hotel, you go and manually switch off this, manually switch off that. Guess what? Technology has left you. Then there's sustainability pressures. I've talked about this, sustainability pressures. In terms of sustainability, what is your carbon footprint? Many people do not even know what this is. They can't measure their carbon footprint. They are not thinking in, sustainable development. They are building buildings still with the old mindsets, right? Still with the old mindsets. There are quite a number of things, a lot of things that you can think about sustainability when carrying out your work. A lot of people still hold a lot of physical meetings, using a lot of papers for requests and all that. Things should, right? We have left that place. I'm yet to see, an organization where, right, they don't have need for printer. Or even if they have a printer, for any reason, they will not finish one ream of paper in 6 months. But some organizations where you work, some of you facility manager, paper, using a lot of paper. Your A4, in fact, that consumable is large. If you work in an organization where they are using a lot of paper, the facility manager is supposed to be the gatekeeper to say, we are consuming a lot of paper in this organization. How can we think about ways on how they can reduce the use of paper by more than 50%? And gradually, you see that you are a value partner against this cost center. Closing thought is for this part one, excellence in FM is not accidental, like we have seen, right? It is actually designed. It doesn't fall on you. You have to design what excellence is. And finally, we have moved from fixing problems to enabling performance. How do we enable performance, right? Which we have covered in part one of Rethinking Facility Management Services. That brings me to the end of my knowledge sharing session. We'll take questions, we'll take comments and feedbacks. Thank you very much. So if you have questions, please, this will be a good time. Okay. Do we have comments, questions? Please, you can raise your hands and just tell me if there's anything that you'd like to share. Okay. So if nobody's asking, then I would have to ask myself, right? I'll just call random names. When I call you, please, you tell me, okay, fine. Innocent, you have your hands raised. All right. We'll take your question, please. Go on. Innocent, you can unmute your mic and speak, please.
Good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon, Innocent.
I want to, first of all, I want to commend this session. It's also interesting. When you were trying to explain the issue of in the area of technology, innovative innovations.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to burst into laugh. Trying to turn off the gen, trying to turn off the switch, all that.
Okay.
Honestly, it's really frustrating, and this is where technology comes in. we really need to see how we can imbibe this. It will really help us as facility managers.
Yeah.
Back to my question, I wanted you to throw a little bit more light in the area of sustainability, because I think that is the area we have a lot of challenges in this part of the world, because sustainability comes with a lot of financial involvement, and most stakeholders, especially the key stakeholders, they shy away from this area. So I just want you to throw more light on how we can be able to sustain our businesses and equally add innovations to them as we go ahead. That's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. So just to clarify that sustainability that we are referring to, it's different from business continuity. Okay.
Yes.
Some people may think there are two different things. Business continuity is to ensure that the business continues to go, but sustainable practices has to do with carbon footprints. What are the sources of carbon into the atmosphere? We talked about depletion of ozone layer at the beginning of the knowledge sharing session, and how our activities. You have a lot of cars on the road. These are source of carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. There are certain areas where, because of the heavy activities, right, it increases our carbon footprint. So sustainable practices is looking on at how we can reduce our carbon footprints in very simple terms. Yeah. There are ways, and there are low-hanging fruits, right? In the place where you work, there are low-hanging fruits. You can sit back, discuss with your facility manager to say, what can we do differently? How can we reduce our carbon footprint? Once you identify all the sources of carbon footprints, generator, if you are using a lot of paper for work, there are many other ways that, people can. Some people think working from home is just doing certain people a favor. If you have team members that can actually work from home, they don't have to come to the workspace. When they come to the office, when you are putting on the lights, when you are putting on certain equipment and all that, you are increasing your carbon footprint. When you are able to reduce the number of people working at the same time and still get the job done, right? Those are some of the sustainable practices. So there are some sustainable practices. You can use AI to check the kind of businesses, have a list of sustainable practices, low-hanging fruits, and you can pick one to say, how can we implement this? So if you start from that place, you find out that you are able to grow gradually into that. Then concerning the automation things, there are also low-hanging fruits, right? There are also low-hanging fruits. Some of these things are not as expensive as a lot of people think, right? You can reach out to Max-Migold. I don't know if Paul is on this call. There are certain, people that can come, carry out an assessment of your facility. I know that Paul does that. This organization, they do that. Carry out an evaluation of your facility, and they can actually bring huge cost savings to your organization, right? Huge cost savings in 1 year if they do the calculation with proven data. I'm not saying what I don't know, with proven data, to say that in 1 year, if your cost of, let's say your cost of running generator or your cost of power is, let's say in a year, 600 million. When they put some of this technology into place, you can cut down your annual power bill by close to 100 million or maybe 200 million, as the case may be, right? You can reduce it by 20%, 30%, depending on how drastic. So if you look at it and say, instead of spending 600 million at the end of the month, right, and I use less than 100 million, way less than 100, in fact, less than 50 million to put certain things in place, and I save, let's assume you invest 50 million, and you are able to save 200 million, plus or minus, you have saved 150 million. That is significant, right? So these are some of the things. If you need more, right? Like I said, this is just part one. Probably in part two, we'll see some more things that can just help to put a lot of things in perspective. Let's be able to take some other questions because our time is already fast spent. I hope that answers your question. All right, thank you very much. I have Farouk. Farouk, your hand has been raised. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question or make your contribution.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for a well-educated and informative statement. I'm very happy, sir.
You're welcome.
We're in a society where some of them, they know, you give us a very nice a way forward of a rethinking of FM. Most of the organizations, instead of to move out from the to practice like paperless things, they still prefer to go on because some of them they are benefiting from it. because even though if you have information, give them an idea, this is what you want, this is what you plan for. There are some people that will frustrate you. They will not want such things to come online. Because as a facility manager, we are one among the top management level. But by giving them all these proposals, they will not achieve. They don't want to listen to it. Because some of them they are benefiting from this. They have a friends that they are giving a contract to supply all those things. They will not. Or like in this thing now, all generator, issue of maintenance or the fuel consumption rate. If you want to maintain that, so many ways, you go on the sustainable development we are talking about. These are the way for to save the cost, for the organization or for the. They will not accept it, sir. I thought, what are the way out? Even though no matter how you give them a pressure, okay, a well structured this a memo to put them there a proposal, they will not. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. So I have to approach to this. It's one thing to have a good plan and suggest to like I said, there are different stakeholders, right, in a facility. And many times we are just talking to one of the stakeholders. You may be speaking to one stakeholder that may not have as much influence. You need to see the other stakeholders to be able to, okay, fine. Because one may just speak to one. There are other things that you can do to the other stakeholders that can help to, do you understand, shift the needle a bit. It may be small. So identify the different stakeholders, right? And think about some of the things that impacts them. When it impacts them, you can suggest to them. So sometimes they don't, because they don't have faith in facilities management, right? They don't have faith in us. You should be able to speak to somebody that is among the stakeholders that can help to also convey the message to them. Let them own the idea. It's fine. There's no problem. The most important thing as a facility manager or a facility service provider is that you are updated with some of the things that needs to be done. You may find yourself in facilities that they embrace this thing hook, line, and sinker, and you'll be celebrated as a hero for it. But you can only take the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. But you should be able to know how to take the horse to the water. That's what I would answer. I hope that makes sense, right? So please, I'll be looking forward to every one of you for the part 2 of Rethinking FM. Any closing thoughts? I want maybe like 3 or 4 persons to quickly just tell us one thing that you are one of the things that you've learned. Just tell us one thing that you've learned and you're going to do differently. Okay. So we have Evangel Voices, we have Olusegun, we have Samuel Bola Kayode, we have Adetayo, I see Chuka Renee. Please, you can just tell us one thing you are taking out from the class, or just give us an opinion. Gali, we have Kola Wole. So anybody can just, so we can wrap up. I think our time is fast spent already. Nick, I can see you. Uba Emanuela. Okay, no, Emanuela is our house person. Yeah.
Hello,
Moses.
good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Sorry, you said the question is one thing I learned, right?
Yes, one thing that one of the things you are taking away from.
Okay. I joined it, but I think one thing I learned is that every stakeholder is different, and every stakeholder needs to be looked at in that light differently. Everybody does not work the same, but the same methods don't work for the same everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for that contribution. Can we get 3 more? Moses, Senso, who is here? Chuka, Samuel, Olusegun. Quick, so we can wrap up. Anyone?
Okay, good afternoon again.
Yes, good afternoon, Simon.
Okay. My take here today, especially, is the sustainability management, which before now, as an FM, I didn't really consider as a thing, since organization I work with, we have a department that handles that. But from my take today is what I'm going to be looking at to also contribute to that in the organization that I'm currently working in. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So let's have one more feedback, one more response, and call it a day. We're waiting for you.
Okay, good afternoon. I have a question.
Okay, yes, please go on.
So my question is like what you mentioned, then I was actually managing 2 branches of a bank. I will not mention their name. So the kind of contract they signed with the FM company I'm working with is I think Total FM. We have to manage all their vendors, manage the branches. So the challenge I have there is that the branch manager does not like to spend. Sometimes I would have foreseen that so thing might happen. Can we do this? Can we do this? Trying to be proactive and preventive, like you explained. But she said, no, is it not still working? No, just leave it. That all we know about is to spend money. I tried convincing her, but based on the kind of is difficult. That is one. Then the second, how do one handle that? That's one. Then the second one is okay. So they already have the list of their vendors. So anytime the vendors come up that we need to do a thing and they bring quotes, part of my core competence is to negotiate the quote. So most times I get quotes from more than 3 vendors. And sometimes I'm able to, among them, I'm able to get the one that is cheaper. But my challenge, by the time I tender this quote, sometimes they rather go with the highest. I know their politics, and it's all the way from their head office, because head office is the one that will finalize. Because after sending them, you have to attach the person in charge from the head office. That's why I will be choosing that I want to go with this person, but they will still go ahead and give it to the other person
that they want.
quoted exactly. And most times their quote is ridiculous. So such situation, how will we handle those situations?
All right, thank you very much. So I don't think when it comes to, I think generally in facilities management, we do not really do well with politics, this kind of politics, right? As much as you try to play it, we don't really do well with it, especially when you have your facts on ground. What I would still suggest is do your reports nonetheless, okay? Do your reports and presentation. So for both of them, unwillingness to spend. If you've been keeping the data, have a time where you can do maybe either a monthly presentation or quarterly monthly is good. That's, please, I need 15 minutes of your time or 30 minutes of your time. We just want to tell you what we've been doing and that, and point the numbers to them. In that 30 minutes that you have, right, to do your presentation, show the numbers that in 2020, let's say the past 3 years, the different aspect, let's say electrical, HVAC, this and that and all that, you show them the numbers in the past 3 years. And you like, in this year, the projected stuff is supposed to come to this amount, looking at the data. But we are able to reduce this by 20% or 30%, saving so amount of money by this. When you compound everything together, right, it's a lot of work, but you need your data, previous data, historical data, and futuristic data, which is why I said FM is not just being proactive, it's being predictive. When you are able to do your forecast for the different items and say, at the end of this year, I can guarantee you we'll be able to save you so amount of money, right? Let's say, well, I guarantee we're going to save, help save for you 300 million, right? But it means that we need to spend maybe about 50 million to be able to get certain things done. If you net that, you have a guaranteed savings of 250 million by the end of the year. And it may come either quarterly or half yearly on this. Do your presentation like that without going into a lot of details. When you're able to do those kind of presentation on a monthly basis, there are certain people that may want to sit down to be part of that business. Like I said, even in your office, the office that you manage, there are stakeholders. Invite the different stakeholders, the people that you know that these people are the decision-making bit, and say, please, I need 30 minutes of your time. Schedule. Once everybody gets a bind, do your very good presentation and leave it to them, right? And like, we are waiting. When you are ready for us to deploy, we can discuss a bit further into how we can save make savings and everything. By the time you leave that space, there is a likelihood that you may have 1 or 2 persons that may want to look at a bigger picture, right? Look at a bigger picture, factual picture. And by that, you just might be able to, get a win, right? So in terms of the politics, the list of vendors, there's only little or nothing that you can do about it. But you can, in your presentation, your monthly presentation and all that, you can, in one session of it, may just be vendors report or your procurement report and say, out of these things, these are, because I've done that report before, these are the all the vendors that applied. These are the amounts that was approved. These were the lowest amounts. This was the money that would have been able to save for this quarter and all that and everything. When they see the total number of monies that they would have been able to save from the vendor you have provided, people sit back and like, wow, this is a lot of money. They helped to save us, let's say 150 million, 750 million, and we're doing this. This is a lot of money, right? This is a lot of money, and they, you never can tell. So identify your stakeholders, try to invite them to come for meetings, do very good presentation is a report. You are just doing a report of what could have been, what should be, and your recommendations, and that you are at any point in time they are ready to execute. That they can count on you as a trusted partner to be able to execute this. And sometimes you need to tie some monies to certain aspects. To like, oh, this 150 million, our current diesel consumption is at this and that. This 150 million would have been able to take us for 6 months of buying diesel, or 4 months or 3/4 for buying diesel. And all these cost savings, you need to map this money to actual spend for facilities that you are able to redirect some of these monies to. Once they see that in real terms, some of them may have to rethink some of their strategy. All right, thank you very much. So I'll take one more question. Mr. Farouk, you have your hands up. Okay, Samuel, okay, I'll take the two of them. So Mr. Farouk, go, your hand came first. Just go on first. Mr. Farouk, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Okay, please go on.
It's a very good advice concerning the last questions that the guy raised.
Yes.
Based on the society we are on, and there are two society, whether maybe we belong to a private organizations or the government organization established.
Okay.
And the kind of mindset that those people have, even though if maybe they are 15 stakeholders in that organizations, let me just mention just a few, just assumption.
Yeah.
That I can bet you
they will not budge, Abi.
Their mindset is different with yours.
It's made of, yes, I understand.
Work on. It's really place that can work is on private sectors.
Okay.
In the government settings,
it's very difficult.
It's very difficult, sir. No matter how you present a well-structured data or to give, okay, this is your own information that you have. And in that presentation, they maybe can only give you 1 or 2 chances to do your presentation. The rest, nobody will come in. Nobody will sit with you. To listen
it's
to
okay. It's okay. It's okay. So if you're in a public sector, the truth about it is, whatever you have to do as a facility manager, do it anyways. Some people that may not agree because their hands are tied, they have taken notes that this person is exceptional. They may have their businesses one day, and somebody may be looking for somebody, and guess what they'll say? There's somebody I know that I would recommend. So don't look at it that, oh, the thing that you want to do, the result has to be there. It doesn't have to be there. It may be for posterity's sake. But should you work with integrity? Yes, do that. Should you do your work well? Yes, do that. Should you give it your best? Yes, do that. Should you do your presentation? Yes, do that. Whether they accept it now or not is not a problem. But just keep doing what you need to do. I can guarantee you one day it's going to pay off, right? One day it's going to pay off. So the last comment, Samuel, please go on. Samuel, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Thanks for this educative session. So I really learned a lot, and almost all others have also spoken about 1 or 2 or 3 things that I've learned. But what I'm just going to say to is about bringing in all these innovations, like leaving behind an arcade mode of working, getting to facility managers and incorporating the new systems, new innovative methods, which will make things easier. Even though in most cases, dealing with shareholders of different departments, as you have explained to us, is kind of difficult to convince them to accept these new innovations that we are proposing to them, just to make things probably because of the profit they are used to getting from, like one of the participants mentioned, in getting papers and not. Yes, probably due to that, they know it, because I had a situation one time where I proposed a security solution, and one of the shareholders, they used that in his place of work. He knows, but for one reason or the other, which I don't know, he is against us using it in our facility, which I don't understand. And putting it to him to ask him why, just he was complaining about the cost and everything. I told him it's a one-time thing. Once it is done, you enjoy it. It's not like you have to renew and renew and renew, unlike the one we are using, where we have to like renew and renew. Once we incorporate this, it's a one-time thing. It's just maintenance, and that's all. But I don't know. It's just complaining, oh, the cost, this and that, this and that.
Okay. So, as a final thought, right, one of the things that we must do as facility managers is to be special swordsmen when it comes to data. You can, if you have data, if you get data right and you know how to interpret data, yeah, even when people tell you no, you are able to provide data. My data is, I can show that this is the total cost to do a particular thing, and one-off cost is a lot. And I show that this is what we are spending on a monthly basis and what is acquired, what it accrues to in probably a year or 2 years. And this is what we're able to save, right? People do bulletin boards, FM, they do bulletin boards. So in instances where you can't get them together, you can do your FM reports, right? In that FM report, you can put some of these things there and send it to the different stakeholders. Let them see. When they are on their own, they will not argue with you. Just get your data right, get your facts right, put everything together, connect the dots to say, this is where we are, this is where we can be, this is how we can get from point A to point B. And these are the things that we need to do. And these are the savings. You should be able to understand what the value, what real value is to the different stakeholders, and communicate, do your report in a language that they understand. So if I want to do a report now and I have different stakeholders, I can send the same report, but what I'm going to send, how I'm going to interpret my reports to the owner of the facility will be different from how I'm sending a report to the finance, will be different from how I'm sending reports to the operations team, will be different from how I'm sending the reports to the different stakeholders. You need to understand and speak in a language that they understand. Many of us will do one report and share to everybody. You just find out that a few people might connect, a few people might not connect. A finance report that is meant to be a finance person, if you send it to some other stakeholders, they can't make good meaning out of it. Sometimes it impacts our own presentation. So it may take us some work, but if we put in the right work, I think we'll be able to connect the dots. What I'm saying is that know these things, learn these things, whether they accept it now or not, right? That's on them, right? That's on them. If they don't accept it now, but you should know it, because you may find yourself in a place where they would appreciate what you are doing and actually reward you for it. But that's not a time where you say, oh, because this company did not accept it, I did not bother to keep doing it. I want you to be able to have yourself with the right mindset to be able to do some of these things. So I hope that answers your questions. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate your time. And Ella, sorry, we overshot our time. I'm sure you know it's because of some of the questions. I would feel really, really delighted if questions are answered, clarifications are brought, towards learning, real learning, right? And we'll be able to walk away with something very tangible. Thank you very much, everyone, and God bless you. Ella, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yoma, for that wonderful section. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's lunch hour, rather. Let's not forget that our FMMC Batch 27 registration is still ongoing and will be starting on the 13th of April. And we have our free training coming up on the 11th of April. 4th of April, rather. Yeah. So to learn more about FMMC training, the link is on the chat, www.maxmigold.com/promo. Thank you everyone for joining today's lunch hour. Do have a wonderful day. Bye.